Morning, everybody. This is Lynn from Lynn's Crafts. It's not actually morning, it's afternoon, so not sure why I always say that. Normally it is morning, but not this time. So this is a pattern that I threw together real quick, and it's for a bucket pocket. So this is my entry into EllenBee's bucket list challenge. It was a absolutely great idea that she had, but I had a hard time with this, I have to admit. And I may go back and eventually put bucket list or something on the front, but I just like the first bucket. Love that Stamper's Best little strawberry flourish stamp, and I just put a little flat flower that I had gotten in a rack from I believe those came from Lydia. And I've never been the kind of person that, I don't want to say I'm not a procrastinator, because I'm definitely a procrastinator when it comes to housework and stuff like that, but when it comes to doing something I'd like to try, I've always been the kind of person to just go for it. So, but most of my life, until, I don't know, about 8 years ago, I'm guessing 2005, we tried to think back and couldn't exactly figure out what year it was, so. I have been afraid of heights my whole life. Terribly. I couldn't stand to stand on the kitchen counter. I'm that scared of heights. I used to have a job where I had to clean the popcorn machine at a little nut and candy kiosk. And that was the scariest thing in the world to me, is to have to stand up on that cabinet and clean that popcorn machine. Terrifying. So, in 2005, we were on our way to a concert with some friends, and we stopped off at the State Fair. And anybody who's ever been to the State Fair probably knows that the Ferris wheel at the State Fair of Texas is the largest in North America. So we stood for 2 hours in line for my friends to ride that thing. I had no plans of riding on it, none at all. And so we get up there, and they pretty much just were like, "Come on, Lynn, you're doing it." So after holding my eyes closed the whole way around to the top, I finally could crack them open while we're sitting still up there at the top. And really and truly, it did help me with my fear of heights. I'm not nearly as afraid of things like that anymore. I still don't like when you go to the mall and they have glass railing on the second floor or something like that. I don't like that. But just being high and looking down doesn't really scare me like it used to. So that's my first one, and on the back of each one, I put some journaling lines at a checkbox so I could check it off. And I'm going to write up here the year that it was, and rode the Texas Star, that's the name of it, largest Ferris wheel in North America. So I Googled and just got a couple of images. It's a vintage image of our big Tex that burned down last year. And this is a closer to when we were there image. And no, I don't remember what he was wearing. It was nearly dark when we got there, so we didn't see much of the fair that year. But I've been many times in my life. It was just the first time I'd ever done anything crazy like riding the Ferris wheel. We went back home, and my son, I guess, was staying at my mother's or something, and we went by there, and she actually did not believe me when I told her that we rode the Ferris wheel. She had to look at my husband and be like, "Really?" He goes, "Really, she did." So I was so excited. So I sketched a little Ferris wheel on the front and wrote "Fear of Heights," and put some little, trying to look like fireworks, just a couple of punched out flowers actually cut out with my Cricut, and some little felt stars that I put some stickles around. So that's my first bucket. I figured I'd start with one I'd actually done. And they're not easy to get back in the pocket, so. There we go. And the backs are plain, just looks like a riveted up bucket. Oh, and I did a spray. It's that Georgia Pacific cardstock that comes from Walmart. And I just sprayed it with some of my Lindy's stamp gang. And this is the Forget-Me-Nots, and I believe the Silent Night Silver. That's what it is. And I used a little glitter glue, golden glitter, Studio G glitter glue on some of the buckets and some stickles. And this is a recollection set, stamp set, and I don't know off the top of my head what the name of it is, but it's just got little strip stamps, like they're border stamps, and the little bee one in the middle of it has a sentiment, and I just clipped it out and stuck the two little bee trails together. So the second one is to open an online shop. I'd love to sell my jewelry and stuff that I make online, and one of these days I will get brave enough to do it. I work on it every day, trying to tackle something or other, whether it's shipping or... So for this one, I just put one of my tags. I have collection tags for some of the collections of jewelry that I do, so I just grabbed one. This one's Keys to My Heart, and I made a little booklet. Don't look at that one. If you saw that, Wendy, you're in trouble. Not really. That's for a swap that I'm doing with Wendy. And so, like I said, I just made a little booklet with some of my jewelry pieces and put the name of them down at the bottom, and a little double-sided. And if anybody wants to see some of these, I have a video showing some of my jewelry. Okay, sorry about that. Had to empty my memory card. I'm still waiting. I actually made a mistake in ordering them, and the company has been so wonderful in working with me to work something out, so I should be getting them any time now, so I'm really excited. Finally, I can film longer than 6 minutes at a time. And I just want to say, if y'all get to wondering how come I haven't commented as much lately, I'm really way behind, and then my husband and I took a little weekend trip, which we have not done in, I can't tell you how many years. We're kind of recent empty nesters, so we really had a great time. Went and visited a friend and just really had a great time. But I'm not used to sleeping in not my bed, if you know what I mean. And whoa, I'm suffering today. So okay, I didn't have a lot of stamps that I really thought went with buckets or pails, but I did have some farm related stamps, so I went with those, and totally inappropriate and don't match anything and don't go with anything or even the theme, but hey, I already said this was difficult for me. The clouds are off that same recollection stamp set, as well as the little grass bordery thing. This little chicken is actually one of those foam rubber stamps, and I got it at a resale shop. So this one is all about, yes, I have a fear of flying. Airplanes. I've never even been to the airport, people. Never. So, fly far away. My wish to fly. And this does go along with one of the other buckets later on. So, again, these little airplanes are with that same set. And I got these a long time ago from... From Kimber Creations. She sent me a little giveaway winnings that was a little like a kit almost. Really cute, and I started on a project that I haven't quite finished yet, so, but those were left over. Really cute little buttons. So here's I just googled and printed off some like vintage travel posters, American Airlines, which, funny enough, the friend that we went to visit used to work for American Airlines. And then this, I loved this. Southwest Airlines. Look at their outfits. Is that not hilarious? Love it. And then a little stewardess. Almost looks like a luggage tag or something. I loved the look of it. So there's that one. I'm not going to keep sticking these back in the buckets every time. But this one, the tractor. I have been interested in archaeology, artifacts, anything art history related. So I always wanted to volunteer on a dig. So that's what this one's dedicated to. Dig. I wanted to put the dig it thing, but I did print off a just dig it. And then this is like a plot map. It's actually a plot map of a huge dig. I think it said in Montana. And then this just is a little fun, almost reminded me of a business card. It looks like out of a kid's book. And it just has the name of some of the dinosaurs. My printer chopped its head off there. I love when things like that happen. So there's that one. And then my next one, my husband and I, on our 2nd year anniversary, went to Disney World. On our honeymoon, we had planned to go to the deer lease and spend a week at the deer lease. And the first night, it was 105 degrees at 10 o'clock at night. And we're in a camper, with no electricity, no running water. We're at the deer lease, for goodness sakes. So we came home, needless to say. But on our 2nd year anniversary, we decided we would go to Disney World. So that is one of my things on my bucket list, is to actually return to Disney World. We had 3-day all-inclusive passes, and we only stayed for 2. And the passes that we had were lifetime passes. So we still had a day on them. And years ago, our house was broken into, and somebody took my jewelry box. And the thing that I most miss was my 1-day lifetime pass I had left. So someday, maybe we can return to Disney World. So this is the life cover from the opening of Disney World in 1971. And we went in, I believe it was 1985. And this is a sketch of Space Mountain. And in my pictures, I have almost this exact same shot of Space Mountain. So I would love to do that. That's my go-to right there. And my husband and I, we had a blast. We actually went the first week of June, which, from what I understand, that one of the ushers told us that is like the week before everybody starts showing up for vacation. It's like the week kids get out of school, or the week after kids get out of school, so nobody's there yet. So we literally went from ride to ride like the park was closed, and just for us, we could just walk up and get on a ride. It was the most wonderful fun. We were like, kids with no abandon. It was just wonderful. So my husband and I both share really fond memories of doing that, and both of us would love to go back. So, and this one, I'm sorry, is a barn. And I did a little of the gold stickles for hay coming out of the barn. And then this is my last one with the paper airplanes and lots of the clouds. And this one is just to travel. I've done some traveling around the United States, but I've never been out of the United States. So that's something I would love to do. Okay, back to it. I sketched a little pair of sunglasses down here and just wrote travel. And again, it's got lines and a box on the back to check it off. So, like I said, we've always been the kind that if it's something we wanted to do, we just did it. So, my husband and I used to backpack a lot. And, we would take off for a week and backpack in somewhere where you've got nothing but what you carried in your backpack. And we've been run out by storms. We've really... I broke my ankle one time when we were out on a backpack trip. Luckily, we weren't but a couple of miles from the car, so it wasn't that difficult to make it back in the car. But it was painful, I'll tell you that. So, but I'd love to travel. I'd love to travel where somebody else takes care of me, as we were just talking about, my husband and I, like on a cruise or something. So again, I printed off some vintage travel posters. I'd love to go to England. I just think that would be wonderful, and I love this TWA poster. So fun. Pompeii. I've been fascinated with Pompeii, of course, since I was a kid. And this one actually has New York on the back, and I'd love to go to New York. I probably would have to take that trip by myself because my husband would not be very fond of doing that. My husband is a redneck through and through. I'd love to go to Hawaii. Not necessarily the can you say that word, Lynn? Not necessarily the touristy places. but to some of the other islands would be wonderful. I'd love to go to Los Angeles. I'd love to see some of the sights. And then lastly, I'd love to go to Egypt. Love it, love it, love it. And being from Texas, you know, we know the hot, so I don't think it would be that bad. So, there you go. There is my little short, boring bucket list, but I watched some of the other videos and was kind of surprised at how many of the things that other people listed I had done. And I've always been the kind of person that felt like I haven't done a lot in life. You know, I haven't been a lot of places or, you know, done a lot of interesting things. But when I saw that, I thought, maybe I'm wrong about that. So it has made me look at things in a little different light. So it was a really fun challenge, and I totally appreciate the sentiment behind it, Ellen. It was very eye-opening and thought-provoking for sure. I won't say I was happy with my bucket. I have a bucket somewhere that I looked for, but I just changed my craft room, you know, 3 or 4 months ago, so I was in another craft room, so I still have things that I have not been able to find. So, alright, there we go. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I wasn't too boring. I probably was, but there it is, my bucket list. I finished it. So, nothing like scraping in by the, you know, skin of your teeth, so they say, because I think the deadline is tomorrow. So, I got it done, Ellen. I got it done. So, thanks everybody. Thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.